Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about data, maps, and scenes within the within the ArcMap or ArcGIS Pro environment. Okay, so adding data into a map or project is actually fairly similar to how this was accomplished in ArcMap. So there's an Add Data button that allows you to add data from a variety of sources via like local folders, servers, connections, so on and so forth. So ArcGIS Pro supports a wide variety of different data sources. So again, you can download data from your local machine, server connections, local or otherwise, connections to databases. So things like file geodatabases and databases stored on a server. You can also access ArcGIS Online content if you're signed in, or data from your portal. You can also access data from the Living Atlas of the World, which is an Esri service that provides links to a variety of data. Here you can see a tree of different data sources on my local computer. So here we have database connections, folder connections. This is similar to ArcMap, where if you want to be able to navigate to a folder quickly or a database quickly, you want to make a connection to it so you don't have to navigate through your full directory tree. This portal section, those are going to be your like remote access data. So for example, my content is all the data that I have stored on ArcGIS Online that I can pull into ArcMap. If you have groups set up with ArcGIS Online, then you're able to access data that's shared amongst that group. And then again, the Living Atlas is going to be data content from Esri that's available if you have access to it and you're logged in with a valid account. And then computers are going to be all of your local connections. So by default, it has connections to my desktop, my documents folder, and my downloads folder, and then these are my local drives. Note that ArcGIS Pro supports file and enterprise geodatabases. However, there's no longer support for personal geodatabases that were stored in Microsoft Access file format. So those are no longer supported. So if you have data stored in a personal geodatabase, you're going to need to migrate it into a file geodatabase in order to use it in the ArcPro environment. Base maps within ArcPro are actually fairly similar to base map options in ArcMap. So you can see side-by-side comparison here. So not a big difference there. Note that there's also support for creating your own base maps or streaming in base maps from a server connection. Here's a link to the ArcGIS Living Atlas of the World webpage, which again is integrated into ArcGIS Pro, and it's a pretty good source of data layers, especially for data visualization. Note that many of these layers are set up so you can also perform analysis on the layers or integrate them into your workflow. You can make connections to a wide variety of different types of servers. So this is an example of that interface in ArcGIS Pro. So here here's an option to add a database, create a new file geodatabase. These are things that can be done in ArcPro. It's similar to what you used to do in, say, ArcCatalog. And then a wide variety of different servers. So we have Arc servers here and more open source server platforms. This allows for adding a connection to a locator algorithm for geocoding, so on and so forth. So there's lots of options for adding or connecting to remote data. Okay, so this brings us up to your first task, which is to add a connection to a server in ArcGIS Pro.